Great afternoon, everyone. It's Catherine Beasley here. I'm coming to talk to you today about therapeutic fibbing, and it's known by many names. One is therapeutic fibbing because therapeutic lying sounds harsher, and it's right um, a creative way to support your loved one by not telling them the truth about something that they may be asking about. And it did not, at least for me, feel good at all to have to do that. And I say have to because what happens when someone with Alzheimer's or dementia is experiencing an episode, if that's what we want to call it, right? My mom happened to oftentimes think of herself as a teenager. And so she'd always want to call her mom because she was going to get in trouble that she hadn't been home in a couple of days. Or she wanted to get home because she had to help take care of her mother so that she wouldn't be home by herself, as an example, right? So, her mom passed away a long, long time ago. Same with some brothers and sisters that she would commonly think about, think that she just saw them or was just talking to them, or would always be trying to go hang out with them, right? And so I would struggle with wanting to tell her that they passed away. And sometimes I did. Now, the studies say that you should not um, tell someone who doesn't remember, right? Someone with Alzheimer's who doesn't remember that their loved one has passed away, that they have passed away, because you could, in fact, be reintroducing the grief and trauma that they felt when that person initially passed away, right? But I was always stuck in my own head, at least, thinking that I had to tell her something, right? And I wanted to tell her the truth or try to ease her into it. Because I wanted to answer her and not just try to bypass what she's saying or redirect, right? She didn't forget. My mom did not get redirected well at all, which is one of the common ways that you are told you should address certain issues with people with Alzheimer's, right? If it's a topic like the death of someone, that you would just redirect them to a different conversation in order to avoid having to give them that news that their loved one had already passed away, right? But it didn't feel good at all to tell that therapeutic lie. But the research is split on whether it's a good thing to tell the lie or the fib, or is it good for them, right? Because you're sparing them the added trauma or the additional trauma that they're going through when you do, in fact, not tell them the truth about, say, a loved one having passed away. And again, like I said, I struggled with that very often. What ended up happening is I would sometimes try to just be quiet for a minute, and then sometimes it'd click for my mom, and she'd remember, and she'd say, "Oh, Gladys passed away already, right? Her sister. Mama's dead, isn't she? Right?" And usually she'd say, Mama's passed." And so and then I'd be able to say yes. And that just made me feel so much better to not have to have told her something in order to just get her past that moment. Oftentimes, especially when she wanted to make phone calls, something that I did, which was kind of a fib or lie, is that I actually programmed her own home number into the cell phone that she had with her mother's name on it. So whenever she said she wanted to call her mom, I just let her call her mother, and then the phone would just ring, because that phone number doesn't ring to a phone that's actually active in her apartment. So that was one way I got around it sometimes. But you just want to be mindful that you are keeping their best interests in mind at all times, in which case at times it is going to be better for you to tell that therapeutic fib or lie. Try not to use that word, but really, right? Rather than to tell the truth and have them be grieving all over again, or to have an episode of agitation or anxiety because of the information, or flat out not believe you, in which case now they think you're lying, and now they're upset because they can't trust you to tell them the truth, which was some of the things that happened, or something that happened oftentimes with my mom. So just bear in mind that sometimes it is better for you to dance around the subject or give an answer that will appease them without having to tell the outright truth in certain situations, because you are looking out for their best interests, right? um, or oftentimes you can say something to them that kind of puts you where they are and have a conversation around that time of their life that they are actually experiencing. So sometimes I'd ask my mom questions about her mother in the instance that she was asking about her, to at least get her talking about her mom, and possibly redirect her to something else thereafter. But by telling that therapeutic lie, you are in fact acting in the best interest of your loved one in order to prevent them from experiencing any further anxiety or grief in the instance. So um, don't feel bad about it. I can say that now, but it didn't feel good at all to tell her things that weren't necessarily true, but it was always in her best interest. So I was able to live with it after the fact. Let me know what you think about this subject. Do you feel like you should always tell the truth to your mom, to your loved one, in every circumstance? And this question came up because I was in an Alzheimer's support group on Facebook, and the question did arise, and it actually had to do with someone being able um, to use their loved one's money for care that they needed, that they would not agree with receiving. And how to handle that situation. Should they tell them in advance? Should they wait until later? So that was pretty interesting. And so the topic of therapeutic lies just popped into my head, and I wanted to come in and share it with you. And hopefully it will be helpful to you to work you through some instances of when you will be presented with having to tell the truth and the consequences thereof, or just saying what needs to be said at the time in order to not only keep the peace, but again, keep your loved one peaceful. So again, let me know what you think in the comments here. Join the group bit.ly dot caregiver the caregiversconnect.com. That is so not it. Bit.ly / the caregivers connect is the link to use to get to the Facebook group if you want to continue this and other discussions with us. Otherwise, again, thanks for popping in. Appreciate you. Bye bye.